Hi and welcome to our second interview for Ask-Ecom Montreal. Today we are happy to welcome FaFa Khan. She's a well-known Montreal DJ, artist and model. She recently opened the Sean Paul Full Speed Tour for 2016 in Quebec, and she almost left so that we couldn't make this interview today because she almost left for Hong Kong for another contract. But we're happy to have her today for this interview. Hi FaFa.
Thank you for having me.
So our first question today comes from Magali Olivier. Her question is, what is your best advice to build a strong e-reputation? Do you manage your personal branding by yourself?
I definitely manage my personal branding, but I do need some help in terms of, at first it was all by myself, and then it got to a point where I couldn't manage everything. So I built a team. I had people on Instagram, different Instagrams, Twitter, Facebook, all these things. But I definitely call the shots when it comes to releasing any footage, pictures, videos, or whatever there is. I definitely overview everything because I need to. But my best one would be, my most personal one would be my Instagram. That's when I keep everything up to date and it's coming from me. It's not coming from anyone else.
The image is too important.
Yeah, and I'm very visual. Twitter to me is too much reading, so I kind of I dip into that once in a while, but Instagram is my main focus.
Nice, thank you. So what would you say would be your best advice to people who are getting into the digital world and they want to build a great e-reputation?
Well, everything nowadays, before you used to start with a website, you always have to have a website, but now you don't even need a website. You can just do a Facebook page, have all your info there, or you can just start on Instagram slowly if you're more comfortable with that. And pictures speak 1,000 words. You don't even need to describe that much on Instagram. It's just the picture describes itself, and it's the easiest one. And then you can kind of branch out to all the rest of the social media networks.
And would you say it depends also on the type of artist you are? For example, if you're more about a painter, you'd be more focused towards Instagram or other...
If your work is more visual, obviously go that way. But if you're a journalist, go on Twitter or start a blog or even a Tumblr, anything like that is really cool also.
Yeah. So that leads us to our second question, and it's kind of a great introduction to it. The question comes from Jan Enrik. The question is, which social media is the best for your personal branding and how you use them every day?
Like I said, I think Instagram is my personal best, but I also use Snapchat because a lot of people will be texting me how's the club tonight? And I can't answer because I'm DJing, so if I Snapchat it and they're oh, it's packed, it's crazy, let's go. That's probably my best. So Instagram for pictures, saying where I'll be at that night, and then Snapchat for what's going on live at the moment.
If someone has a very busy schedule and he wants to focus on one or the other, would you say Snapchat is really getting more and more popularity so that you could focus on that more?
I think so. I just think it just gives people info of how the place is. Is it worth getting dressed up and going out? And I think I advertise it pretty well. So thank God, whenever I DJ, it's packed. So people do come and it's really fun. So that's probably the best if you want a live response. But if you just want to know where I'm at and you want to come listen to music, then just follow my Instagram. I always post where I'll be.
Okay. So our third question now is from Stéphanie Latour. The question is, how digital in general is helping you to reach your goal? Any tools, recommendations?
I mean, everything's digital now. Other than my paintings, I recommend my clients come see them in person, obviously, because pictures don't justify them. But everything else is very digital. I am very incorporated in it. Always respond to the people asking you questions or commenting on your stuff. Try and be as much involved as possible, so then it can grow. If the person feels it's not a personal interaction, then I find it gets very disconnected, and it's just it ends up being just this corporation instead of just a personal branding. If it's personal branding, it means you should be the one answering questions, answering emails or whatever. You can obviously have a team help you, but always be the one to respond to direct questions like this.
Yeah.
So I recommend just being more involved. always respond to people, always message back, like, thank you for the compliments. I always message back on people who are like, oh, I saw you tonight, like, you were so great. I always try and respond to them because I think it's really important. Like, I don't want someone else doing it. I don't want my manager doing it. I want to be the one doing it. So I recommend that the most.
So would you recommend people really taking care of answering all the stuff that's coming in, or if not all, which social media would you recommend more get involved in the answer you give to your audience?
In responding to your audience, I would say Facebook, because you get messages and comments and all these likes and stuff like that. That's the most interaction part. Instagram is depends if they really have a question, but it's more just like likes on Instagram. It's not really that many comments. But I would say messaging back your people is definitely on like Facebook and emails and stuff. But yeah, I recommend that the most.
All right. Okay, so that leads us to our fourth question from Lara Berguglia. Who has been and still might be today your biggest inspiration professionally, and why?
I would say growing up, I loved music videos. I was obsessed, and that's why I know my like history of hip hop kind of. My biggest inspiration growing up would be Missy Elliott. She was like dancer, R&B, hip hop, like collaboration with Timbaland. It was like the beats were just they never get old, and I can still play them to this day. And for example, when she came out during the Super Bowl, all the old school people were like, "Oh my God, it's Missy," and all the new people were like, "Is this a new artist?" And she's been around for like decades. So to me, it never gets old. So that was a big inspiration because I used to teach hip hop dance. So that was like, oh my God, everything. Sean Paul also, surprisingly, because when he came out with a lot of his music videos. He was known for his dancers. So that also inspired me in my own choreographies. So now for it to come back around to me and have me like open for him, it was like a dream come true. Like a lot of younger people won't know like where he came from, how he started it. But to me, it was like growing up, he was amazing at like the dances and really incorporate movement in his music. So
the more we move in history, the more your audience don't know these references, right? So
you always have to kind of go back. So DJing actually allows me to do that. Like I'll play the new songs and they actually got those beats from old songs. So I'll mix them together and the younger generation will be like, oh, that's where it comes from, you know? Okay. So it's a bit of education in the club also.
Yeah, that's smart. That's great. Our fifth question now is from Stéphane Ricoul. His question is a digital channel more important than a real network of contacts?
You absolutely need a real network. Digital, just to get you started, is a great platform. But after that, you gotta meet people face to face, you gotta go out, you gotta be more involved. Like a lot of artists struggle because they don't go actually out of their house to show their work because they're too shy or whatever, they think they're gonna be judged. The only way you're gonna make it to the next level is if you know what, show your work, don't be ashamed. You won't please everyone. No. You just please who wants to be and who likes your work. Don't try and get the haters to like your work. Like it's pointless. Just concentrate on yourself, your positive vibes, your good people around you, and you'll get there to the next level. But it's face to face. It's like this. It's not always online. You know. So it's
more an addition. The online world is an addition to your actual world, where your personal brand that could have been only for yourself, like getting in touch with other people back in the days, will be that today you can expand it to the digital world and be more out there all the time.
You just have to get more in touch. Like digital is a good starting point, but then once you get out there in the real world, you see how competitive it is and how intense it is. So you really have to step up your game.
This is our last question already. It's coming from Nicolas Gilbert. Nicolas is asking, how much do you use your sexiness to communicate in your personal branding?
I would say I don't personally because since I'm a female DJ, a lot of people would be like, oh, she only gets booked because of this and this. I'm like, no, I actually don't advise female DJs to just have cleavage and no clothes. Like, I don't like that. Like, I think your work should speak for itself. And then if you want to add a few more like sexier things to it, that's a plus. But it shouldn't be your number one and then your work second. Your work should be first, and then if you want to add artistic style to it or whatever, your personal and unique touch to it, then I think that's the best thing possible you could do. But don't put it first, like always put your work first.
So after all, we could say that the most important thing is not to think that digital can replace physical world.
No.
And that your personal brand online is just an extension of your actual personal brand, and you have to use it the right way when you communicate with your audience, right?
Yeah, always be involved with your audience, always communicate to them, but put your work first, obviously.
Yeah.
And just be involved digitally, but also when you meet your actual like people who like your work, like interact with them. It helps, you know. Yeah. In that, like I get it all the time in the club. People come up to me, they're shy, but like at least they know my personality because. Like I said, when I opened for Jean Paul, he was an idol growing up, but if I met him and he was a mean person, it would kind of ruin the image for me. So I always recommend, like, always interact, be nice, you know, do your thing.
All right.
Yeah.
That's very great. Thank you for these answers, FaFa.
No problem.
This was our second interview with FaFa Khan for FaFa Khan Montreal. Thank you all for watching.
Good.
FaFa Khan.